Right now, Mazda...
Sid Eston is set to resume his spring campaign in Saturday's JJ Liston Stakes at Sandown. Sid Eston is unbeaten on the track, and as Dan Malicki reports, trainer Bob Hoysted is gearing up for a big spring.
The former Tasmanian Sid Eston hasn't started since his shock defeat in the Sydney Cup in April. The 5-year-old was floated to Sandown by trainer Bob Hoysted to reacquaint himself with a track he is unbeaten on. Sid Eston galloped with stablemate Painted Ocean this morning, and the gelding is set to resume in Saturday's feature weight for age race, the JJ Liston Stakes.
Yeah, he loves Sandown. It's his ideal track for him. It just suits, I think Sandown's a marvellous track. Suits all horses, but particularly a horse of Sid Eston's style of racing, where he can lay back and get home with a good strong finish.
Sid Eston has raced at Sandown 3 times for a perfect record. Included in those wins was last year's Sandown Cup performance.
Sid Eston's drawing away to win the Sandown Cup. Sid Eston by a length and a half to Ideal Cinnamon. Go Pack third.
Sid Eston also has a good record first up. Last preparation, he finished third in the Futurity Stakes.
This field on Saturday, while it'll be stronger, I think coming back to Sandown, it puts Sid Eston right into the race. And as long as he's running home very strongly in that last furlong, that's all I'm looking for him.
And there's an 8-race card at Flemington tomorrow for the quaddie. 8, 2, 3 and 4. Quad extra, 2, 3, 4 and 7. Daily double, 2, 13 and 4 in the first league into 4, 18 and 1. Lucky long shot, race 7, horse number 4, Starn Ray. For the first jumps jockey, Mark Foot will never forget his first city winner. Foot rode Star Fiola to victory in race 1 at Flemington, despite losing his saddle and stirrups just metres from the post.
And Star Fiola's drawing away from Native Court and Oyster Grey. And Star Fiola, the saddle slipped badly on this horse. Star Fiola, the saddle slipped right off, but he won. Bareback.
What was to be Mark Foot's biggest win almost turned into a nightmare when the saddle on Star Fiola slipped right off the horse's back. Amazingly, it happened just metres from the post in a 2,800-metre hurdle race. But as far as carrying the prescribed weight was concerned, there was no problems. The saddle hung on by a thread around the gelding's rump. Later in the day, some spring staying hopefuls resumed in the Ori Star Handicap, including Pakenham Cup winner Carowin, former import High Bailiff, and the Bart Cummings trained Prince of Kingston. The 6-year-old broke down in last year's Brisbane Cup, and while today's performance was huge, it also turned out to be a disappointment.
Crimson Medal in front, Western Frontier out after it, and look at Prince of Kingston get home along the rails. Prince of Kingston's the one. Got the run up on the inside for Lenny Moornan. Prince of Kingston's going to win the Ori Star. Brilliant first up performance. Wins a length to Western Frontier. Delmot.
Prince of Kingston pulled up sore, and his racing future looks finished.
He won very well, and an old injury has reoccurred, so I don't think he'll race again for a while. They're very, very classy. It's a shame to see him go. If he had good legs, he'd be, I'd say, be close to champion status.
And Dan must be struggling for $1 having to work as a strapper as well. The quaddie at Flemington today, 6-3-3-1, $396.75. The quad extra, 3-3-1-1, $374.25. Daily double, 3 and 1, $28.90, and the extra double for 2 and 6, $29.05. The Japanese have again...
The hope of winning a lot of sponsorship up there. It hasn't quite worked out, so this year, or next year rather, in 1991, the Brisbane Bears will play 4 home games at the Gabba and also 3 pre-season games there as well.
Aussie Rules is no stranger to the Gabba. The QAFL Grand Final has been played there for years.
It's a good-looking kick. It's a beautiful kick.
When the Bears entered the AFL, it was on the understanding they'd be based in Brisbane after a short time at Carrara. 4 years later, Carrara's their permanent home ground, and the club has struggled to make an impact on the sporting public. The Bears hope to remedy that next year when they grace the famous Gabba grass for 3 pre-season and 4 regular season games.
Whether we ever move away from Carrara full term, you know, I've probably got my doubts in a little way because there's been an awful lot of money spent on the capital works down there, and it is a good facility.
The Cricket Ground Trust says it'd welcome the Bears as a permanent tenant, despite concerns about possible damage to the playing surface.
Don't forget that curators spend an awful lot of time ripping the grass, stalinising it and putting spikes through it to oxygenate it, so maybe the football spikes will do that for us.
Peter McCarthy for the 10 Evening News.
Well, down here at Princes Park, Carlton, fresh after a win over top of the ladder, Essendon take on the in-form Hawthorn side this week. But for the first time in 24 years, the Blues will be missing out in the September action for the 2nd year in a row. Joining me tonight is their ruckman, Justin Madden. Justin, I know the sting comes out of the players at this time of year, but it's a pretty big one to build up for still.
It is, yeah.
we're sort of almost out of the finals. We'll certainly have the finals, I think, but it's still a big game because we've got to prove something to ourselves and something to the supporters and hopefully build for next year.
Well, 8th last year, 6th this year. It's only a marginal improvement, but have you noticed any significant improvement in the side's performance this year?
That's difficult to say, Eddie. I think we've been a little bit inconsistent, but we've had some big wins, I suppose. We've beaten the sides at the top of the ladder, except for Collingwood, and that's an improvement on last year, but form and consistency has been the worst part, I suppose.
Is there much you have to do? Do you need new players to come into the club, or do you think the basis is here to work on for next year?
I think the basis is here to work on. We've been able to blood a few young players this year, and I think that'll make the world a difference. I think everyone gains from that experience, and I think that'll put us in good form for next year.
And Essendon and Hawthorn would be a great way to finish off the year.
It would be, yes. If we could beat Hawthorn, it would show the supporters and the people that barrack for the other sides, actually, that that we've got something to offer, and next year is a positive year for us.
Good on you, Justin. Well, good luck on Saturday.
Thanks very much, Eddie.
In the game against Hawthorn after knocking off your brother's side last week. And coming into the side for the Carlton team is Tom Elvin. Out is Mark Majizak with a rib injury. Meantime, on Sunday, Richmond supporters have their chance to save their side by turning up to their first big rally at the MCG. And today, some of their former greats rallied to the cause.
The money has started to come in, an encouraging sign for all Tiger supporters. But like in their glory days of the 60s and 70s, the greats of the club are once again doing their bit. Today, one of the greatest centre lines ever, Francis Burke, Bill Barrett and Dick Clay reassembled and donated the Guernseys they wore in the 67 and 69 grand finals back to the club.
I was a Richmond supporter, so from 1957, 58, so I suppose it has meant a lot over the years. I'm a life member of the club, and I suppose it has meant everything to me for a long time.
It's a club that I've spent the best years of my life at, and to see it happening at the moment, it's a real crying shame, I can tell you.
Next Sunday's rally at the MCG is a very important one for the football club and for the supporters because, well, we're all in together now, and it's what happens from here on in.
While present club loyalties were pushed aside when Melbourne coach John Northey and Essendon's Kevin Sheedy came back to Tigerland to lend their support, even if Northey's Demons will be trying to kill the Tigers on Saturday.
We want to win, let's say Richmond want to win it, but at the same time we want every club that's in it now to stay in the competition so that those great traditions of rivalry that have been through every club stay there.
Oh yeah, well we had many good times here. Three of the coaches in the final series this year are from Richmond, Mickey Malthouse and Johnny and myself. So they've produced, as a club, a lot of coaches right throughout Australia.
Some magnificent players there supporting the old Tigers, so Richmond fans, get down to the MCG on Sunday if you want to see your club in 1991. And finally, for doing the rounds tonight, on a sad note, the 1949 Brownlow medalist Ron Clegg of South Melbourne died today at the age of 62 after a long illness. So, Steve, on a sad note tonight, that's it from Princes Park. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Eddie.